Today we're talking about no guts, no glory. Things move at different speeds through the digestive tract. The average adult has about 5 to 10 pounds of toxic poop in their body rotting away there in their intestines and colon. As that stuff starts to build out, we get the feeling of being bloated, backed up, carrying extra weight around our belly. The midsection, excessive fatigue, weight gain, slow digestion, IBS, leaky gut syndrome. I can keep going. Constipation, diarrhea, eczema, acne, psoriasis, brain fog, focus, attention issues, migraine, anxiety, depression.
You get that clear gut, you get that clear breathing, you get that clarity in mind. You may be making better long-term decisions and less short-term impulsive ones.
Medical bills are right there. Definitely going to be one of the top things that you're going to spend money on in your entire life, but not if you're healthy.
I want to do a quick yay or nay. We are stressed because we think too much.
Overthinking just applies a lot of extra unnecessary pressure and takes you out of flow state.
We have anxiety because we don't breathe well.
I've heard that the way to get rid of the anxiety is deep breaths or focusing on your breathing. So then I would say yay that it comes from that as well.
25,900 breaths a day. That's what we take.
Back in my day, and it was 27 inches of snow and I had to walk all the way and shovel it back and right. Like they were doing physical things that they didn't need a gym.
Some may never work out. Others may never think about how they breathe, like ever in their whole life. But they will never, ever, ever forget to eat a meal. That's why I start my clients with gut.
Welcome to the Good Life.
Welcome, guys. This is the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I got Stu in the building. Say what's up, Stu.
What's up, y'all?
Guys, Kabi is here. Say what's up.
What up, doe?
And as always, I'm Chris here diving into how to design your life with extraordinary health, wealth, and mindset. Find us everywhere.
That's right.
Find us everywhere you listen and watch your podcast, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're at. Hit us, hit a like, thumbs up, all that good stuff that you do. It's episode 61. We got another great one for you today. And we're going to jump in with a little bit something different. We normally don't go this direction. We're going to do something new because, again, the good life, it's always about trying and learning and continuing to evolve. And some things had popped up over the past few weeks. The fellas and I were having some discussions. We said, we need to bring some segments, some other things to the podcast. One of the things that resonated, because we're all in a form of a client service business, right? We all have clients. We all help people on a daily basis outside of us connecting in this manner on the podcast. That's actually what we're doing. So we said, well, why not bring together a couple of the takeaways that maybe we had from a client this week. We thought it could add some value to you guys as the listeners. And we just wanted to let you know that maybe there's something that you might be dealing with that we already have a client that's dealing with the exact same thing. So we might as well just share it with you and see if you can get some value from it. I'll go first, gentlemen. As always, seeing people having the conversation around money, the one thing that really resonated, it was a common theme for about 2 or 3 of the clients that I saw this week, but it was just about organization, organizing your money, right? Organizing how your money is flowing and actually paying attention to it, being aware. So for, 2 of them were business owners. So we had the conversation about how the money flows. Do you have a business bank account? And from the business bank account, does it flow into a personal bank account, right? We are having these conversations about how many bank accounts they actually needed in order to run their business properly. So that was something that, again, we see a lot of times. Make sure when your money is flowing and you're now becoming more aware of it, you know which accounts it's coming from and what accounts it's going to. Ideally, for people that are in business, you have a business checking, a business savings, a personal checking, and a personal savings. That's pretty standard, right? You might hear other people say it differently, but that's how we break it down. Most of your money should be flowing through your business checking, and then You save some in your business savings for taxes, for expenses of the business, right? Like emergency fund business type stuff, but also taxes. And then you have your personal side, which takes care of all your personal things, and then your personal savings. So organizing your money is so incredibly important. Sometimes we don't take time out in order to do that. And I was talking to a few clients this week where that was their number one thing. And we had some breakthroughs. So hopefully somebody else can take some things from that. Organize your money this week. Sit down, look at your bank accounts and how things are flowing. Stu, you got something?
I love it.
Yeah.
It.
So I think the first thing is I love how there was commonality and multiple clients going through that. I know for me, I often struggled when it came to the whole, how do I organize the business account to personal and all that other stuff. So that's cool that they're having those breakthroughs too. For me, the commonality this week happened between about 3 people where all 3 of them identified that their boilerplate template as a man was to handle things on their own. That's where they got their pride from. That's where they felt safe. That's where they felt like the honor was. Asking for help was a no-no. And for the very first time, it was 2 first-time client sessions and one probably his second or third, just openly recognizing how much weight is lifted off when you actually open up about your life experience. If you do not talk about what's happening up here, it can feel so heavy. You have no sanity checks. You have no outside opinions on what's going on. No fact checking. Choose that word carefully. But it was so cool to hear this because just a lot ended up coming up for these guys that they had never talked about before. And there was a continued commitment on them to find people in their community that they could actually open up to, aside from the professional relationship with us, utilizing their parents, utilizing close friends. It was awesome.
I love that. That deserves a bam, 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 bam. That was great. That was great. I appreciate the call and response there. All right. So for me, one thing that a couple clients have been dealing with is really making progress, but then fighting time, right? So one thing we've been put into place is how to have effective training sessions in 15 minutes or less, right? So I've actually designed multiple programs around that, and I'm able to and that's worked really well for them. I designed quick little workouts in 15 minutes or less, not just workout like you might imagine, but we'll call them strength sandwiches, morning sandwiches, and different things of that nature. And putting that in and say, hey, listen, can you give me 10 minutes, right? Every single morning, can you give me 10, 15 minutes 3 times a week? And we'll still get you some of those results. And that's been working really well for them. And they've been seeing a lot of progress doing that. And that's been really awesome. So y'all keep it up, because consistency is the key. However, whatever you can give me, we'll work with it and we'll get you there. Just give me consistency. I need that. I need that. I need that.
That's right.
Dude.
Progress equals happiness. Progress equals happiness. So staying consistent and continuing to progress.
I was going to say it. That's not the
I love this.
That's great. That's great.
That's awesome.
All
That's
right.
awesome. Client stories, again, we always want to throw those in now because we think that that'll resonate with you guys. Everybody's dealing with something, and a lot of times it's the same stuff. So however we can add value, we will. Let's jump into this topic today. Young Kabi, sir. It's on you, man. What are we talking about today? I heard it's about
Oui. So avec on today, le topic, le toujours. You know what? That brings back. Si, vraiment.
Insert random French words. Let's go.
Oh man, I started getting terrible flashbacks to a French class I may or may not have been in with good Sir Stu. So we will move on because that did not go too well for me. Yeah. It was not my fault anyway. You know who you are. So today we're talking about no guts, no glory. Actually, I lie. We're talking about the 3 principles that are really key to me in my program here, the C10. I call it C10 Method. And it took me quite a while to get here, though. But when finally did, it just clicked and made a lot of sense. And this is what I've seen the most long term, not just short term success and medium term success, but long term growth and success with. And it's been with starting. If you imagine 3 targets or 3 circles, the inner circle is a focus on gut health, learning how to eat. And then the second circle outside of that is breath, connecting the mind and the body. And then the next one is movement, right? And I found that in going with that as a general principle, I was able to develop 3 12-week courses that focus on those 3 things: the gut, the breath, and the movement. And that's how I progress my clients from first we focus on one, then we go to the other, and then we go to the other. Obviously, there are overlaps, right? There are overlaps with that. But in having that being the general theme, I've seen a lot of long-term sustainable growth and progress with folks, including first and foremost myself. And so I wanted to touch on that a little bit as to why that's important. And we're going to definitely make sure we clip this value add here, because it's going to come a lot of value at you. You know what I mean? Definitely want to grab some pen and pencils, a little pen going on there, because yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot of value coming out of this one right here. And imagine Fireman Wayne, you know what I'm saying, coming out if you are a hip hop consumer. So starting with the inner circle, gut. So why would we focus on gut first? Let me give you all a little few things to chew on. All right. The average adult has about 5 to 10 pounds of toxic poop or stool, if you want to sound a little bit more proper, right, in their body, rotting away there in their intestines and colon. Research suggests that most people have about 8 undigested meals in their gut at any given moment. Colon disease is on the rise, and new guidelines lower the screening age from 50 to 45 because it's been such a problem. And most of the waste contains chemicals that your body has rejected for some reason or another, and it couldn't flush it out. Now, as that stuff starts to build out, we get the feeling of being bloated, backed up, carrying extra weight around our belly, the midsection, excessive fatigue, weight gain, slow digestion, IBS, leaky gut syndrome. I can keep going. Constipation, diarrhea, eczema, acne, psoriasis, brain fog, focus, attention issues, migraine, anxiety, depression. Woo! Yeah, all of that. And if you're not producing well-formed stool after each meal, what you have to understand that you're most likely already suffering from this, and you're probably blaming it on something else. And if you're not already there, you will probably have hardened stuff. Let's call it stuff and make it a little bit more appealing, right? Hardened stuff in your intestinal walls, right? Just Google a picture of say the word for me, bro.
Diverticulitis.
Thank you. The tongue sometimes won't let it happen, right? So this is really taxing our digestive system, our immune system, and our overall health, right? It messes, and the part that I don't emphasize sometimes is that it also messes with our hormones, right? Which in turn messes with how our body processes and craves things like sugar. And it affects how our blood level sugar operates, or how it functions, right? And thus affects how our body stores fat, typically around the belly. So if you're having issues getting rid of stuff like that, consider that you're probably in this boat. Now, white coats or doctors from Yale, Harvard, MIT all agree with the father of Western medicine, Hippocrates, who says that all sickness originates from the gut. They now agree, right? So thank goodness, right? And the thing that I always tell folks is that some may never work out. Others may never think about how they breathe, like ever in their whole life. But they will never, ever, ever forget to eat a meal. That's why I start my clients with gut. And that's why I believe it's important to emphasize gut first. And then we move on to an emphasis on breath. It doesn't mean we forget gut. It doesn't mean we don't touch movement, but the second stage is an emphasis on breath. And why is that? Because oxygen is the primary nutrient. The primary nutrient. And if you don't believe me, try holding your breath underwater for 10 minutes. Please don't try that. We take 25,000.
Please don't try that.
Please don't try that.
Do not repeat this at home.
Right.
Just believe me. Just believe me. 25,900 breaths a day. That's what we take. So breathing efficiently is key. And the state of mind affects our quality of breath. But our quality of breath also affects our state of mind. Right?
Amen.
Fear cuts out breath. Think about Monsters, Inc. Right? When you're scared, you jump up, right? And your breath cuts off. And we also know that trauma is stored in the body. Check, reference, the body keeps the score. We also know that nasal breathing, simply switching from mouth breathing to nasal breathing, has a huge impact, again, on hormones and hormonal balance, right? And actually changes, and this will be a question for us later, and actually changes your facial structure and your sex appeal, my friends. Huge impact, right? Breath is the core of movement. I've boiled this down before in the show. And think about it in terms of expansion and elongation, plus minus. That is essentially the essence or the core of movement and posture, for that matter. So incredibly important. And breath, and then we get into the movement piece a bit here, and kind of, again, overlaps a bit. But breath is spirit, and spirit is breath. That is literally what it means. And it unites or brings together mind and body. All right. So then we get into movement, the third, and this is typically where people start. People try to start here. People try to start a movement. That's where they want to go. That's where all the quote unquote sexy stuff is. Right. And, we know that movement is extremely important for an enjoyable life. A body in motion stays in motion. So movement efficiently is key. Most experience a sense of not being in their body, generally speaking. That's how we walk around, typically speaking. But the key, or one of the keys to health at this level, is to health and beauty and happiness really comes down to simply moving with intention. And that's the focus on the movement realm, right? So those are the three sort of starting inner gut. And please do not go to movement without taking control of your gut and I'm not just talking about the poop aspect, I'm talking about also then through that program, that's when we learn or teach how to eat, how to consume, right? Not just what to, but how to consume. Then we move on to the breath, and then we move on to the movement. And by that point in time, you are well equipped to go out there and slay and design a life that you don't need a break from. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gents. All right. So from that, guys, I want to take us to, I'm sure you have some stuff you want to bring up, but I want to do a quick yay or nay. Y'all ready for that? And then we'll hop into some questions that we can. Hey, I see he's ready.
Yay.
Give him one. Bye, 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 bye. All right. Quick yay or nay here. And feel free to give a why. We're gonna keep it under a minute though, so we can move on, and then we'll go to a discussion questions that we can all just chop it up on, open discussion. All right. So, yay or nay? We are stressed because we think too much. Let me toss it over to Stu first, and then Chris.
Yay. Overall, overthinking just applies a lot of extra unnecessary pressure and takes you out of flow state.
Yay. Stress comes from our brains, I feel like. So it just makes sense, right? Like we are overthinking things and it would lead to stress. So yay.
Got it. An easy one to get us all warmed up here. Okay. All right. Number 2, we have anxiety because we don't breathe well. The source of anxiety is a literal stoppage in breath, physically speaking? Yay or nay? Toss it to Chris first.
Yay, because I've heard, and I'm gonna need you on this one, but I've heard that the way to get rid of the anxiety is deep breaths or focusing on your breathing. So then I would say yay, that it comes from that as well.
And I would say, yeah, yay, caught it. I would say yay because we have evidence from Navy SEALs, all types of emergency responders that box breathing, taking those slow, deep breaths, will take you out of the fight or flight and allow you to analyze your situation in a much calm, cleaner manner.
I think that you guys are onto something. You're onto something. Yay or nay? The gut makes you a healthy gut makes you more attractive.
Yay. Big yay. I think first and foremost, the physicality of, like you said, like the lack of bloating, like your body processing fat rather than gathering it around there. And then two, like the mental game that comes with having a clean mind because of the clean gut.
That's also a yay for me. I was literally about to say the bloating part after just coming off of it, right? Cleaning the gut a bit, right? The bloating goes down, makes the gut a little bit more attractive just from the external, but I'm sure in the internal there's some good stuff going on. So that's a yay.
Yeah. Your external is a direct reflection. It's almost a flip of the internal. Actually, the one thing I was trying to fit in there was the aroma. You literally, your scent changes. And that's a key piece as well, because that is something we hugely find attractive. Pheromones kick up to its natural state. Okay. Yay or nay, breathing through the nose. I already gave this one to see if you guys were paying attention. Breathing through the nose can literally restructure your face.
Yay.
And how? Give me a how.
Oh, damn it. I was just trying to jump in and say yay. I was paying attention. It's yay, but I don't know how. I was just going off of what you said. So you're going to have to tell us how, unless Stu gets it.
Yay. Shout out to book Breathe by James Nestor. Basically, by breathing through your nose, you're going to be changing the structure of your sinuses, which are consequently, when you do this, you're going to be just changing like the whole structure of your face accordingly.
Yes. And to get a little bit more specific, you develop a more chiseled jaw. You develop, instead of a hook nose, you develop a more structured nose, straight and a little bit wider. You develop your teeth realign correctly, all right, because of your tongue placement in your mouth. So a few things develop right off the bat. So those are the three most noticeable one right off the bat. The jaw being the one that really gets folks, get them melting. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yay or nay, last one here. We could save and improve quality of life if we teach folks how to eat, breathe, and move better. Come on now, I realize these are lightweight for y'all. So I want the why though. I want the why.
Nay. Just kidding.
Yeah,
I was ready for the nay. I was like, oh, I'm going nay. I'm going nay.
All right, Chris, I'm actually going to hand it to you because I got so excited about saying nay that I totally spaced out.
No, give the question again, though. That was really because I did.
We could save and improve the quality of our lives here on Earth if we teach folks how to eat better, breathe better, and move better. And I want specifically how.
Big yay. First and foremost, when you understand how to eat better, you are going to just see this massive change in your physical appearance, which we all know to some degree, depending on the person, is heavily tied to your self-esteem. When you teach people how to move better, they're going to be able to develop more constructive ways to exercise, move around without developing chronic injury over time, without wearing down their joints and back. And when it comes to breathing better, as the guy that's so focused on the mental side of things, if you change your breath, you change your ability to control your thoughts. You become unstoppable.
That's what I wanted. Thank you. And Chris, you got to tie it back to money, bro.
Oh, gosh, you're making it hard for me.
No, it was easy. It's cakewalk.
So it's definitely a yay. Focusing on gut, focusing on breath focusing on movement, right? Those obviously, as you broke it down, those are the things. How can I tie this back to money, bro? I'm trying to think about it. I have no idea how to tie this back to money.
I got you. Easy. First and foremost, medical bills.
There we go.
Secondly,
Easy.
economic structure of the farm and of an agricultural system. Right? If we eat like we're supposed to, be a lot less waste, and not just that, but if we're eating the things that we're meant to eat, our system would look totally different. So those are two right off the bat. You gotta give me one more though.
Come on, bro. those were good. For sure, the medical bills, man. I was just having this conversation with somebody talking about how medical bills are right there. Definitely going to be one of the top things that you're going to spend money on in your entire life, but not if you're healthy, right? Not if you actually are focusing on your breath and focusing on your movement and your gut. So, where else is this tying with money? I mean, I don't know, bro. I don't know, but it's a
you will literally healthy people. Go ahead, tap you in, bro.
You get that clear gut, you get that clear breathing, you get that clarity in mind. You may be making better long-term decisions and less short-term impulsive ones when it comes to money.
Way to pick that up, Stu.
That's it.
Way to pick up that.
That's it. And
you guys had the alley-oop. I can't do it. That's all it was.
That's right. That's right.
Literally make more money. You literally make more money, right? And on another side of that, not just healthy, but healthy, attractive folks have been shown to generate more money. So yeah, easy right there. Right there.
On that note, I got a nice little pickup for that one. Oftentimes when we hear about this concept of attractive people making more money, there's a lot of resentment that comes about from what you may call haters or just people who don't feel as empowered by that level of attractiveness. Rather than focus on the difference between them and you, why don't you come at it from the idea of what can I do to become more attractive so I can have the same thing for me, because it is possible. You just have to believe it about yourself.
That's right. That's right.
That's good.
That's right. I appreciate that, because that's it. That's it right there. And so, guys, want to open the floor up for a little discussion. I got some questions to get us going here. You guys feel free to take it wherever you want to go. You know, what if I'm curious, what are some questionable things you guys have heard about eating, breathing, and movement that just like struck you like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's true or not.
I kind of had to go back a couple years for this, because now I'm just so open-minded to it, all of it, because of hanging out with you. I think back when I was first beginning to look at alternative ways of eating, I think the whole idea of just meats potentially not allowing my body and digestive system to function as fluidly as possible, that just didn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's on the food pyramid. How could it not be good for me?
Is that it, Stu? Were you done?
No. Is there a 1-2? I can come in with a 1-2 punch. All right, so the two is fast forward when I've done like multiple just juice cleanses or weekly 36s, or just introduce more smoothies into my diet, did I realize that weight sheds off. It just sheds off. And it's just crazy to see the difference in what your body can do, even if not much else changes. If you're just introducing that in more periodically, it's just such a different atmosphere for your body.
So true. So true. I picked this up from you. Could be a saying. I always wind up regurgitating sayings. I told you guys this before. I hear something, I'm like, oh, that's good. And I wind up telling it to people. And one of the things that you have said in the past about us not listening to our body, right? Something that really, it's key. Like, we've given away that power. We've talked about that before, right? Giving away that power to medical professionals or whatever the case is. So we don't listen to our body. But this constipation thing, I'm around a bunch of people that, right, have some constipation stuff. And I was like, listen, that's your body saying, stop putting stuff in. And I remember you saying that before. And for me, it never clicked until you said it. It's like, yeah, if you're backed up, if it's not coming out, why am I still putting it in? Like, that doesn't make any logical sense. And I just wound up saying that to somebody a couple of days ago, like, well, stop putting it in. And they're like, okay. Okay, it all clicks after a while, but that little piece, it's like it seems like common sense after you know it, but most people, I'm sure, don't do that at all. Like they'll
Yeah.
continue to keep stuff in their face even if it's not coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think to me, you know, that was one of those things that I learned along the way. That was like, you know, this idea of like we must eat 3 meals a day, right? Never questioned it for a while. Yeah, breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's what we've always done. Like, well, why would you do anything else? But when you stop for a second and really think about it, it's like, why? Why 3? Why not 4? Why not 2? Like, why 3? Why 3 is the optimal time frame? Like, why is that? Why do we only think about it like morning, morning, afternoon, evening? Because everybody sleeps at night. That's not necessarily true, right? So, I mean, it's just like it starts to when we interrupt the pattern and start to really kind of think about it, and you pause, you realize, oh, I'm not too sure about that. I don't know about that. And Stu, what you said, I think what's interesting is like for me, it was a realization of like about the meats aspect of it and not moving so well. It really more so is things move at different speeds through the digestive tract. And since there's only one track, it's not like something is coming reverse or taking an exit somewhere else. And if it is taking an exit, that might be worse, right? It's going into the little pockets, right, and causing Go ahead, let me get it one more time.
Diverticulitis.
Thank you, sir. Diverticulitis. Yes. So it might even cause worse issues if that's the case, right? Happy Wednesday here on Instagram. Appreciate you joining.
I got you.
So, you know, and it's realizing that, oh, things are moving at different speeds. So maybe I should align them accordingly. That was a huge one for me. So I appreciate y'all bringing that up. You know, well, shoot, I got other questions. Y'all want to keep it rolling, or if you got something you want to take it, we could definitely do that.
I'm down to keep it rolling. You bringing up that whole why are you still putting stuff in if you're constipated thing? It makes perfect sense. If it's not coming out, why put it in? And kind of on this note of the 3 meals a day, I would say my whole relationship with food changed when I just started eating when I felt like I wanted to eat. Why is that so obvious when I say it out loud? I don't know, but it didn't feel obvious back then. Probably because, you know, a generation spent, 20 plus years of you will eat now, whether you like it or not.
I like that. I appreciate you taking it there, because we get a lot of our food habits from our parents, right? We get a lot of our food habits from our parents, and parents don't want us to die. And who tells them they're going to die? The doctors do, and their parents do. So they start to literally force it down our throat. I remember some of the biggest fights you have between parents and child is around, no, eat the food that's in front of you. Child is, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. Da 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 da. Right? And you want the child to do well, and you don't want them to go eat junk or whatever. So you're like, man, what do I do here? Am I being a terrible parent? So I get that. I get that. All right. So that we don't get too stuck in this, because we could talk about it forever here. My other question I was wondering about is like, why do you guys think that, or do you guys think we need gym in our current society, and why? Because we didn't always have gyms, right? Why did that develop? What was missing? What was the role that gyms filled over time, and why did that hole develop and needed to be filled?
Yeah, so I think for me, I think the reason why gyms developed is all of a sudden we have a society that is not working with their hands and not physically stimulating themselves and getting exercise through their profession. I do not think we need gyms. You will still find me at a gym from time to time, but probably not for health reasons, more for just aesthetic type things. More of the superficial, like sculpting type items. But we absolutely don't need them. And I realized, ironically, when I'm lifting more at the gym now because I did the whole push pull squat routine that you mentioned for about probably 2 months, like heavily. I'm lifting more at the gym now than I would have been doing, and I didn't have any injuries, didn't have any discomfort. And within a day of being back at the gym, I've got some of that discomfort and tightness already coming back. So we don't need it. I think it came around because now we sit behind computers for the most part.
That's gold. Thanks, bro. What about you, Chris?
No, yeah, that's right along the same lines, right? Like as a society, we're just not moving our bodies as much. We're sitting, we're watching TV, we're watching our, tablets and our phones, we're on the computer. Back in the day, and I don't know, maybe you can educate us a bit, bro, about like, even the rise of the gyms. I think that might have been something we had talked about on a previous episode briefly, right? But just even when that kind of came up, but realizing that back in the day, like you had to walk to school, you had to walk to the grocery store and carry all the bags back. Like you naturally had physical activity inside of your day-to-day life. You want to take it all the way back, right? Men hunted, right? They killed what they needed to. They put that buffalo on their back or that boar on their back or whatever, and they hiked all the way back home. And then, right, mom's in the house just chopping it all up and skinning it, doing whatever she's got to do, doing all this physical activity in order for them to even eat. So whether we take it all the way back there, or like, you hear the conversations of our grandparents and our parents back in my day, and it was 27 inches of snow and I had to walk all the way and shovel it back, and right, like they were doing physical things that they didn't need a gym. They didn't need the gym because they were doing it naturally. And so I think that wherever we took that turn in society to say, let's not do as much manual labor, let's make things more about convenience. Now we got to implement this place for people to actually move their body because they're not doing it naturally.
So I think you guys hit on some key things here, and I want to see if I can put it in a nice little box here for folks here at home. You guys hit on a couple of things. First and foremost, the energy in, energy out natural rhythm has been disturbed, right? And I think you guys did a great job of describing that. And what's happened is that the energy required for us to get the food that is needed has gone way down. The accessibility of the foods has gone way up, and the quality of the food has gone way down, and the addictiveness of the food has gone way up, right? So Foxy B, right, on Instagram right here tells us, and I totally agree with this. I think it came around because of the food that they are now offering the society. Absolutely. And she also says, if your pronoun is she, I gotta be careful these days, y'all. I apologize, that's not. But I think the game came around hand in hand to go with all the fast food that society has placed in front of us. My pronoun is king, by the way, so we go with that. But Instagram won't. Instagram won't recognize it. Yeah. Instagram won't recognize my pronoun. It says it doesn't exist. So whatever. Instagram.
Have you typed in king and it said
no? I did. It literally would not let me do it.
I love that. I'm gonna go try your highness.
Yeah. So I think those are really key points. Those are really, really key points. Not just as the energy in, energy out component been disturbed, but now we're sitting more. We have greater access to food that's more highly addictive, less fiber, less nutritious, more sugar, more salt, more addictive. We've talked about how the food industry is really a couple major conglomerates that they have some of the best scientists in the world, right? Nestle and whoever can pay some of the best scientists in the world to make our food more addictive, right? Because that's the work. It's not that they're terrible people. It's because that's their job. That's what they do, right? And we're also not educating our children and our adults, but mostly our children, on what they should be eating, right? And yet we're pushing propaganda out at them, Saturday night cartoons or Saturday morning cartoons and all this stuff at them with colorful images and that play on our psychology. It's not just the development of the food, but the psychology to also develop our attractiveness to these foods. And I think we're in a tough situation, man, because it is hard. It is hard, man. It's not as hard when you live in the Pocono and all you had was what you grew in the gardens with mama, or when you went, or when you were hunting, also could have been with mama, right? When you were hunting and you were killing that, that wasn't much of a decision to be made. All right, that wasn't much of a decision to be made. Now it's a hard decision. You got a couple of dollars on you, you can get a Whopper, right? You got a couple of dollars in you, you can load up on carbs, right? And have that insulin level jacked up, right? And have your body storing belly fat, right? And all types of garbage in the gut. So this is why we start with the gut. Right? It's incredibly important. And all our cravings are jerking us around, right? So no labor, energy in, energy out being disturbed, our food being altered to a high degree and made more available, more ubiquitous, cheaper. And at the same time, and this goes back to the gym component, at the same time, you've had sex appeal being sold to us in a particular package, right? So from the Gold's Gym era of the Arnold Schwarzenegger era, right? And even before then with our Sando, right? The lifters, right? Being sold to us like this is what attractiveness is. And it shifted. It used to be a long time ago that an attractive male didn't have anything to do with biceps or any of that stuff. What it had to do is, man, you have some nice gastrocnemius over there. I love those calves. Goodness gracious. Right. And that's what it was about. Right. And it used to be that a woman was, being more plump was the way to go. Why?
Woo!
Because it could tell, man, listen, she ain't hungry. Right. She's from a good home. She was well fed. Right. So our ideas of appeal has literally, and I'm not saying either is good or bad, by the way. I'm saying it's literally been shifted. And when TV and propaganda took over, it told us that, hey, look at Arnold over there. Arnold got 2 or 3 blonde ladies sitting on his shoulders. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Look at these athletes over here. Woo! They got the girls, and the girls are skinny. Baywatch, shout out. And they blonde and white, by the way. So, we're not going to touch that, but, it is what it is. All right. So I'm just saying it constructed that image, and then it put us in a space where it's like, okay, so now not only do I have to fight through the gauntlet of highly addictive foods that make me store fat, and then I'm beating myself up because I can't stop eating them, and I'm developing mental issues around it because it's like, oh, I don't want to eat this, but it's so delicious, but I hate it. Oh, God, it's good. Right? We're going crazy. And on the other side, we want to go to the gym and look like Arnold. We're in a tough position, man. Tough position. So if you're struggling with any of this stuff, I hear you. That's why we develop gut, breath, and movement to get you through this stuff and to re-stabilize. Because the more you know, the more you control yourself. Not even control yourself, but the more you can weave through the gauntlet, right? The more free you can become and let that anxiety and all that stuff go. So it's tough out there, but the knowledge helps for sure.
That's huge, man. That's huge. One thing I do want to go back to, even after all of that, for anybody that's listening, let's go back to that statement, father of Western medicine, right? Saying that all disease, right, originates from the gut, starts in the gut. I didn't always believe that. So clear that up, right? Like what is it that we need to know to understand, to make that statement true? Outside of Hippocrates saying it, what is it that we need to know that makes that true? Like, how does that really work? And it's funny because I've seen stuff recently that a lot of people are starting to hit on this notion, but how did you get to it, Kabi? And like, what evidence, like what backs that up that's true?
Yeah, for sure. So when you start to look at diseases, what you're really looking at is you're looking at the leaves of the tree. So the itis, right? You notice, and I can show you this because pay attention to how diseases are named. Bronchitis. It's inflammation of the bronchioles, right? So, and then when you start to trace it down, what you start to see is that disease is caused by two main things. You can put them in. It's toxicity, which is they're both imbalances, right? Ultimately speaking, they're both in harmonious states that our body is in. So toxicity, meaning that there's too much of things that are, let's call it the red side, the acidic side, right? And then deficiency, not enough of the things that are balancing out the red side. So if you think of a scale or a yin yang, and all of this exists like a Russian doll, it's circles within circles within circles, right? But it all comes down to harmony and balance, right? So two things there. And when you trace those two things, they all lead back to the gut, right? You trace those two things, they all lead back to the gut. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper into this stuff in terms of how exactly those things lead back to the gut, I have a couple of resources I can suggest for you to dive a lot deeper into that, but take that on a high level, right? Because when you look at non-acute, because let me keep going on a high level here, non-acute conditions. I chopped my hand off. I got shot here. Blah, 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 right? Those lead to I'm missing an arm and I may get an infection. Right? That's different from chronic conditions, which fester. And you can test this out for yourself. Go ahead and leave something alive. Just leave it out for a little bit and see what happens. Nothing happened, right? Nothing was done to it, but it starts to fester because the condition that it's in is now out of balance. It's now out of whack. And we create a lot of our chronic conditions through the fork. And we create it internally and then it festers externally because our external is literally a direct reflection of our internal state. That's why things like tongue reading, eye reading, face reading, that's why those things work. Because it's literally me being able to look at your internal state on the external. That's why when you clear up the gut, things like skin rashes, eczema, skin tags, and things of that nature, when you are in balance and in harmony, that's why those things clear up. Right? So now you can come from and listen to the list of things I named earlier, just to give you an example of, let's reverse engineer this. When you clear up the gut, we solve things like extra weight, being bloated, right? Excess fatigue, weight gain, slow digestion, IBS, leaky gut syndrome, constipation, diarrhea, eczema, acne, psoriasis, brain fog, focus, attention, migraine, anxiety, depression. Well, how can all those be connected to the gut if all doesn't originate from the gut? So first and foremost, hopefully that makes sense. You can ask any follow-up questions, but you got to divide it into acute, like me getting my arm chopped off in a boating accident or something, versus something that's chronic and festers, right? And then looking at tracing the leaves on the tree of disease and taking it down to those two things, toxicity as an imbalance or deficiency as an imbalance, and all of those lead it back to the gut.
That's huge. That's huge. And it makes perfect sense, right? It makes perfect sense. It's just, again, one of those things, if we're not aware of these things, we don't always go down this path of like trying to figure out what the root is. And it's actually so simple that it all does come back to, right, what we're putting in our mouth. right? What we
And
consume.
I'll give you one more thing to look at. One more thing to look at. Go look at the top 10 causes of death. You can separate them into acute, some sort of accident, or something chronic, something to do with the heart, something to do with, right? And you start to see the categories and how they connect. And how, and one of the things, the last thing here for you guys, one of the things that all doctors, regardless of how good or bad they are, will inadvertently kind of tell you is, well, clean up your diet and exercise. Regardless of if they're out of shape or not, they'll tell you that. You want to lower your blood sugar? Yeah. Clean up your diet and exercise. Your cholesterol, clean up your diet and exercise. Your heart condition, clean up your diet and exercise. In addition to whatever drug they're prescribing you, right?
I think the most, like, I've always been one that just doesn't get sick when everybody else does, and I think a lot of it has to do with I've been cognizant of it. I haven't been as clean as I am now, but I have always been cognizant of what I eat and consume. But I think the biggest shift I ever had was when I got rid of acne by getting rid of dairy and then just drinking more water. And it's amazing how much money and time and energy we put into dermatologist appointments and all this other stuff when it was really that simple. And then I know people out there that are like, but I really like eating dairy. And I was like, well, what do you like more, eating dairy or acne, or not having acne? Like, life will get very simple for you if you begin to kind of look at these things. Like, if you are trying to be a healthy individual and you want to be attractive and you want to like the way you look, are you really that hung up on a certain type of food that it would affect the rest of your life?
Yes, for some.
Yes, because we're addicted, right? Like that's why. Yes.
Yes. And that's okay. We're all free to choose. We're all free to choose. You know, we're not here to tell you that, hey, you should choose this path. We're here to tell you that if you choose the good life, these are some of the ways to get there. All right. We're all free to choose. And that's something I'll say has definitely been a growth area of mine, is that not everybody trying to live a healthy life. I couldn't understand that for the longest time. But not everybody wants it. So that is what it is.
It's funny. I used to think the exact same things. I used to think the exact same things about people that didn't want to be wealthy or didn't want to be financially independent or financially free, right? There's a whole group of people that just like, I just don't care about any of that. I'm like, how could you not? Like, it didn't click all the time. But now it does, right? Now it registers, and I understand everybody has their own views and aspirations of what they want, and it's not the same things that I want all the time. So that's why my motto in business became, right, I'm helping people get to the place they want to be financially. Like,
that's
now
a bar.
now where I want you to be, I'm trying to help people get to where they want to be financially. So that means you just want to have 100 grand saved and own your home, and that's the extent of it. Well, let's get there. Somebody else wants to be a multimillionaire and never work again. Well, let's get there. I'm not going to tell you which way to go or not, right? Just you figure it out.
I love that. I love that.
I like how this is a common theme, because I've kind of felt the same thing. I used to be very judgmental, like, this is the way things should be, and you got to let go of that, especially as we're coaches. The one thing I still grapple with on this is the individuals that don't necessarily want to have, X amount of wealth, or don't necessarily want to be healthy, or don't necessarily want to have like a very enjoyable headspace. Are you educated and informed enough to be able to make the decision and to be able to see actually how easy it might be and what the ROI is? I think that it's almost as if, if we treat our kids from a stance of we try and empower them and educate them. But we also recognize that they're children. They may not always know what's best. They may not realize looking both ways across the street is probably the better way to go about it. So that's kind of where I still grapple with. And that's why I like what we do here, is we do a combination of educating, but we're not trying to sway you in a certain way. It is up to you to make up your own decisions.
I think that's a fabulous point. Fabulous point. Give you all the chips, and you go ahead and play them how you will. Go ahead, Chris.
No, that's exactly it, right? I agree 1,000%. And just adding to it, right? That's also what again gives that free will, that freedom of choice that people have to do whatever they want with the information that they have. But they don't, I don't give people the ability or the chance to then start complaining on the other side, right? If you say, like, once you have the information and you say, I don't want to be wealthy, or I don't want to be super healthy, I don't care to live a healthy lifestyle, I don't care about these things, then don't complain about the effects of that, the effects of being unhealthy, right? When you're now like, oh, I gotta go to these doctor's appointments and I hate the doctor, and well, you had another option, so don't complain about that side, right? Just deal with it. Same thing for people that are like, oh, I don't want to be wealthy, I just want to be happy and comfortable. Okay, then when you can't take that trip when you're 56, don't be upset. Like, don't be mad, because this is the choice you're making. As long as you have that information, you don't get to stay in the middle, right? You're picking one side or the other. Maybe that's just my black and white nature, right? But I don't think people should be able to complain if you've gotten the information and have the other side of it.
Totally ownership for your decisions.
There we go.
Take it. 100% responsible.
Mm-hmm. You can't be resentful if you made a certain decision and the consequence got applied.
I got maybe one more question for you guys, and then let's do some takeaways and giveaways and do it. All right, before we run out of time here. So, I had a lot more questions, but I guess we got to pick one here. Maybe we'll do two. Maybe we'll do two rapid fire ones. All right. What do you think is going to? How will our society look now that our work? Now that our well, apologies there. Now that our work, how work looks has totally shifted.
You got to say the question again, bro. You got to say it again. Were you laughing because I closed my eyes to visualize what you're talking about?
Oh gosh. Yes, not quite, but yes. Oh gosh. Okay.
Active listening, baby.
Yeah, I like it. I love it. Oh man, what do you think is going to happen to our society now that the meaning of work has shifted, right? How we work, what work means, the role that work plays in our society has shifted. What are some of the health impacts of that, right? I mean, just to draw you guys' attention. I mean, I don't think more people spend more time working on their computers and phones than ever before at any time in history. Period.
Agreed. And do we think it's going to get better? I mean, meaning
no. What are some of the impacts, like direct impacts?
Oh.
I got some of my ideas I could toss out, but I want to hear what you guys think.
I kind of know we've talked about a couple, but even as I think of myself, right? A lot of this stuff is self-reflective. My posture when I sit obviously affects my breathing and affects, right, some of the other things. So like we've talked about leaning too much, you call it tech neck, right? Just having our head down, constantly on the phone, right? Like that, right? We're just now our posture is going to be off. That reminded me of that that TikTok where like they're doing.
I know, right? That's what I was going for.
Yeah, we got it. We got to make that content.
We're synced up.
Yeah,
that reminds me of that TikTok. Look at that, folks. Look at that, folks.
And this is Unk.
So meta. That's so meta right there, right?
The least millennial out of all of us.
That's super meta. Even that was meta by saying it. But anyway, that is definitely going to have an impact. It's going to have a huge impact just in our posture, us sitting at these tables, looking down. I'm thinking about my daughter. Like we're having this conversation with her because she's sitting really close to the TV just because we're not fully set up. So we're like, back up, like it's going to hurt your eyes. Like there's just going to be so many like bodily things that are going to come from this because work is changing and because we're getting more into that digital nature. So that less movement, we kind of touched on that already, right? Just less movement by more of us sitting here, less getting that heart rate up, less moving around. So that's going to have a direct reflection on our health as well.
Social anxiety, and goodbye Instagram. It's been real.
It's been real.
So we just lost IG, or at least I did.
Yeah, I did as well.
For me on this one,
could be hit I said could be hit his hour.
I get that second, third, fourth cousin treatment on IG.
You know, the way I think about it for you now is like you're pretty much on parole. Like you're allowed back on Instagram, but you only get an hour live.
Yeah,
Gosh.
you get like half the privileges of everybody.
You can only question the system for an hour. Sorry.
It's insane, guys. It's insane. I'm taking my talents to TikTok.
We already have our first TikTok idea. Look at that.
We should go live on TikTok. We should switch the whole thing up. We digress. We'll talk about that.
As long as I don't have to dance.
Can you go live on TikTok?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get so much traction. And no, Stu, you don't have to dance. Actually, there's like 40-year-old people on there dropping crazy business advice that's like got hundreds of thousands of followers. It's way beyond where it was even 6 months ago. But anyway,
I didn't realize you could go live on there. Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. So what do I think is going to happen by the workforce shifting to computer-based? Social anxiety. I'm seeing it with like literally one half of my target client, the young adults who are just trying to figure life out and figure out their circumstances. Many of them are wondering, like, how do I go back out? How do I date? How do I socialize? How do I just go explore the world when all of a sudden I've been out of practice for so long? And my quick answer to that is trial and error. You got to get back on the horse. It's okay to fall off. You just got to get back on. And really what's happening when we are not physically around other humans is we are no longer getting reps of our nervous system firing up in some type of way. Your nervous system and your body reacting to the people around you, the pressures, the fight or flight, the emotions, the vibe. You are not getting exposed to that. So if you are constantly working behind your computer now, I would recommend finding another way to go out there and get used to that, or else you're going to go out in a social situation and your nervous system may fire up because you're so nervous you don't know what to do. You don't know how to talk to it and soothe it in these moments anymore.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Thanks for hitting on that, bro. That's huge. All right, guys, listen, it's that time. Let's go ahead and give some takeaways, giveaways, and roll with it. We could talk about this for a while, but I don't want to keep it going too long. Takeaway, giveaways. Whoever wants to go first, feel free. Otherwise, I could probably start off.
I could chime in real quick. Giveaway, book Breathe by James Nestor. Anybody out there that wants to be a total nerd and understand the power of your breath and all the things you can do with it and how many people around the world have been studying this, dive into the book Breathe by James Nestor.
It's dope. Great takeaway or giveaway. My takeaway again, all disease originates from the gut. I knew that, but it's always a takeaway because I don't think we really comprehend how much we're either setting ourselves up for success or failure by what we're putting in our mouth, by what we're consuming, right? So that is the takeaway. All disease starts in the gut. And that list that could be read, you had a list of 50 different diseases or whatever, like realizing that if you're suffering from one of those things or multiple of those, start with cleaning your gut. That's where it starts. So that was a takeaway.
That's awesome. So I'll give two books real quick. First, we kind of talked about profits a little bit and accounts and things of that nature. I love the book Profit First. I believe it's Mike Michalowicz. Check that out. It's an awesome for businesses and how to align your accounts and set them up. That book was super full of information. And then in line with this today, I typically recommend other books for health stuff, like the Muculus Diet Healing System, but the Miracle Detox Source Book is a Bible. It's a Bible that you got to check out. It's a Bible. And it's so funny. I open to a random page and I see skin and its disorders, and I see mind, emotions, and the self. So it covers everything. And it really does originate from the gut. So let's go ahead and we can eradicate 70% of the things that we deal from, 80% of the things that we deal from, in fact. So it's
90.
90, gosh darn it.
95.
No. Yeah. All right. Cool. So Stu, you want to take us home?
I'd love to. Kabi, thanks for doing this today, man. I don't think there is enough emphasis on this topic. And yeah, so I appreciate you bringing this up. So that's it for us today, guys. If you like what you heard, subscribe, smash that like button. Tune in next Monday for another good one, and share with someone that would honestly love or hate this episode, because all press is good press, as we saw at the Oscars. So until next time, keep living the good life.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the good life.